Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to B-Sides Las Vegas Proving Grounds. This is our I'm dead. Sorry. Last talk of this day. And it's titled Broke But Breached: Secret Scanning at Scale on a Student Budget, given by Raviteja. So, a few announcements quickly before we begin. We'd like to thank our sponsors, especially our diamond sponsors, Adobe and Aikido Security, and our gold sponsors, Profit and Formo. It's their support, along with our other sponsors, donors, and volunteers, that make this event possible. These talks are being streamed live, and as a courtesy to our speakers and audience, we ask that you check to make sure your cell phones are set to silent. So if you haven't already, please take out your phones and make sure they're set to silent. If you have a question, I'll be handing out the audience mic that I'm holding right now. Please raise your hand. I'll bring it to you so that the people on YouTube can also hear you. As a reminder, the B-Sides Las Vegas photo policy prohibits taking pictures without the explicit permission of everyone in frame. So I would request you to refrain from taking any pictures, even if it includes taking pictures directly of the slides. These talks are all being recorded and will be available on YouTube in the future. With that, let's get started. Please welcome our speaker.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for staying late for my talk. My talk is titled "Broke but Breached." Yes. Secret scanning at scale on a student budget. So, hey, I'm Raviteja. I recently graduated from University of Maryland, College Park, in Masters in Cybersecurity. I explore Golang and Kubernetes, and I am a part-time CTF player. And I do have these certifications, and I don't have the disclaimer for like employer, like all of these are like not of me and employers because I'm looking for my next job. So if you're hiring, please reach out. So that is some sort of interesting relationship between secrets and breaches. Like if you can quickly Google like what are some companies which got breached due to like sort of secrets which are out public, you would get all these companies and stuff, and that can be like sort of hard code API keys or which are pushed like everywhere literally. And one such popular breach which we could kind of come across is like the solar winds, where like an FTP credentials were like pushed to the GitHub, and these leaks are like preventable given that like you have like respective checks in your pipelines. My mission was like to find these secrets way before attackers do. So my research was limited to VS Code extensions. So why VS Code extensions? As you can hear, like the AI is kind of taking everything and stuff, and then like you see people vibe coding things. So if you can see the trend across 2023 to 2025, there are like a lot of VS Code extensions which are being pushed to the VS Code marketplace. So technically, they are like kind of often bundled with environmental variables and stuff. And some things like, say, for example, in the recent trends, which we talk later down the lane, we see that there's some sort of pattern across like the extensions which are being pushed to the marketplace. So in terms of scanning for architecture and stuff, so I kind of used this architecture wherein, given that I'm a student, I kind of pulled all of my friends' Azure accounts and then spin up a quick Kubernetes cluster across their accounts, and then technically given Azure gives like $100 free limit for each account, so I was able to kind of fool them using a Kubernetes cluster, and I was able to scan across like for this thing. But technically, this setup was not that scalable, given that sometimes like some of the VMs would kind of crash given the CPU, given the secret scanning is like a CPU intensive task. So I was looking for like other solutions and stuff. Like I came across DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean does give a free limit on like $200 for like students. So I was fortunate enough to kind of use that, and this was like my modifier architecture for like scaling, to do the scanning at scale. I was using DigitalOcean's Kubernetes cluster, managed Kubernetes cluster, and I have pods which are like kind of running as a daemon set. So each and every pod is kind of running on one of the VM instance, and technically they kind of poll URLs which are like the VS Code marketplace URLs from the Redis cluster. They kind of poll whenever they start, and they kind of scan those things and then push the data back to the Redis cluster. Given I need to have like a backup solution for like a larger scale data, I was using PostgreSQL, and all of these things are like architect using Golang. So this is like a overall view of like my cluster using KubeView tool, and these were like the pods which are running as I described in previous slide. So on and whole, like I was using this technology stack, technically Kubernetes. Like in my initial V1 architecture, I was using K3s. Given that I was having multiple accounts in my V1 architecture, I was using Tailscale to get all of these Kubernetes clusters on like a single network. I was using Terraform Cloud for like easier deployment, and Docker is like for like quick testing on my end, and Trufflehog is the one which I kind of used for secret detection, given that they have like extensive, I guess like the last time I checked, approximately like 800 regexes or like things which are built into the binary, and Redis for like fast key value storage, and like Golang which kind of orchestrated the whole pipeline for scanning, Python 3 for like initial POC and scraping, and again AWS SQS is for like VPN queuing, which we are gonna see at the end. And in terms of cloud, I was using Azure and DigitalOcean. So in terms of scanning pipeline, this is how it looked like. So this is like the VS Code marketplace I had to corrupt to fit in the slide. And my first phase was like collecting VS Code extensions, and second phase was like to scan those things obviously, and the third phase was like to normalize the findings and like put it in a presentable way. So looking at the first phase, like so scraping was like a pretty bad idea, and I was looking for like an intelligent way to kind of get all the VS Code extensions. And there is this thing called sitemap.xml, wherein all the sites kind of publish so that like the Google like either Google or like any other search engine could kind of go ahead and like index those links. So this is where I got all of my extension URLs from here, and this is how I normalized. Let's say if we take first one, which is like the Crayon marketplace. The Crayon is like the publisher name, and the VS Code theme Dragon Ball Z is like the name of the extension. And you can also quickly fetch the version, which is the latest version from the VS Code marketplace using an API. And this is how like the whole URL for downloading the specific VSIX packages can be generated. As you can see, Crayon is like the publisher name, and like this is the version name, and you can also see the extension name over there. So for scanning extensions, I have used Trufflehog, given that they have like an exhaustive set of regexes already built in. And given like in my V2 architecture, the scale at which I was scanning was like approximately 100 extensions per minute, given that other rate limits and stuff. And the whole entire backend is written in Golang for like concurrency and scalability. So this is like a quick overview of like my memory usage, CPU usage, and stuff, to just to give an idea like how intensive is the secret scanning. Like secret scanning is a CPU intensive job. So this, in terms of findings, these are like unverified findings. As you can see, like there are like a lot of API keys which are present on VS Code extensions. Ideally, in an ideal world, this should be like zero thing, but as you can see, like there are like a lot of API keys. So in terms of like a finer thing, like if like say I want to remove the noise and like just look at live credentials, these are like the live credentials which I just tested before the talk. So as you can see, like private keys are like mostly along the lines of they are like SSH GitHub private keys, where like you can kind of push code to some of the GitHub repos and stuff. And in terms of OpenAI, like as I said, like the vibe coding is kind of pretty much crazier nowadays. So you can see like OpenAI keys are being like pushed at a larger scale. In terms of MongoDB, the trend which I was looking at was something along the lines of folks who are like just getting started with VS Code extensions, and they're kind of trying their best to like kind of look at some basic things and stuff. Again, as the AI and stuff, like I see some VS Code extensions which are like more along the lines of enhancing user experience in terms of AI, but like the Grok and Anthropic are something along those lines. And in terms of GCP, I did look at some of the projects keys, and then most of them were like, I would say, are along the lines of users who were like trying to work with GCP. But I did get some interesting findings along the GCP where I was able to kind of escalate the whole thing to admin and kind of get the administrative privileges on like one few of the GCP accounts. And in terms of Azure SaaS tokens, like they were like more along the lines of supply chain. So in case like if you are able to kind of poison the supply chain, that would be like another talk altogether. Again, in terms of Discord webhooks, those credentials were more along the lines of vibe coders, like who just want to look at like say, some stats or something along those lines. And in terms of GitHub and GitHub, I was able to kind of escalate these things to like OAuth and have like more of an attack chain along those lines. And again, in terms of AWS and all these other credentials, the impact can be much more higher. But I mean, I couldn't verify each and every credential, but it was more along the lines of companies which are leaking more credentials and like users who are like just vibe coding and pushing things. One last interesting thing which kind of did make a difference, like in my previous scans and like the current scan, is like the Superbase token. I guess that's again a vibe coding side effect, I would say. And that these are like some of the verified findings which I just looked before the talk. And to kind of present them in like a better way, like these are like the numbers, and as you can see there, like which is an NPM token. I'm gonna kind of look at that specific thing in the next slide. So given NPM token was like I was able to kind of escalate that NPM token and use like to kind of push the JavaScript packages and then like have like a supply chain attack. But given that I was able to do that before like attackers could do, that's a pretty cool finding out of my research. And on top of that, this extension which I found an NPM token was like I guess last updated 4 years ago, but like I mean that token is still valid. So I was pretty much surprised. Like I mean why there's one token and then it is like there in like VS Code extension which was pushed 4 years ago. In terms of trends, as I said, like as you can see the graph, right? So in 2022, 2023, like there was like a lot of trends going around like crypto and like given it was COVID era. So like as you can see, like at that point of time, most of the tokens which are like or like API keys which are being pushed to the VS Code extensions were along the lines of Infura and blockchain API keys. But in the recent shift, like from 2023 to 2025, we can see like newer extensions are like kind of leaking more along the lines of AI related secrets like OpenAI and Anthropic and Hugging Face. In terms of Hugging Face, there is like an interesting case study which I couldn't put in the slide, but which I wanted to share is like there was this company, let's call it XYZ for like privacy reasons and stuff. They did have like an Hugging Face token exposed in one of the VS Code extensions, and I was able to kind of download their like unreleased AI models and stuff, and then like I did another sort of recursive thing wherein like I kind of also scanned their unreleased AI models for extensions, and that did have like more secrets which were live. So it's like this is just one case of this thing, but it could kind of go and like can be part of like a larger chain of events and stuff like going if we explore like each and every token. So one specific challenge which I wanted to kind of say in terms of rate limiting is like Microsoft was like pretty lenient on like the amount of like the amount of downloads which you could do. But again, given that I'm doing, I have like approximately like 116K extensions, and then I want to do that like the downloading part and the scanning part at a time, and like most of my IPs were like kind of blacklisted. So I've come up with this sort of approach wherein like I used to have IPs in a queue, like that's where like my AWS FIFO queue did work, and then like I used to have those IPs which are in the queue, and as you see on the top, and then I have like an associated TTL with them at the bottom. Like whenever like say I can kind of IP is white like blocklisted, I'm gonna quickly put them at the back and then like have that TTL attached so that even though they kind of come down the queue, those IPs are like not rate limited and stuff. So in case of IPs, I was using a paid VPN service, but I just don't that was pretty much efficient to kind of bypass Microsoft's rate limiting. So one of the takeaways is like, I mean, given that I'm a student and I was able to do this sort of thing under $15. So I mean, like attackers could do that at a much more higher scale. So like secrets are literally everywhere. Like if you could look at like the places like which developers commonly use, you would find much more interesting things. And another like sort of takeaway for companies is like enable logging. Like literally like logging would help you to kind of have the sort of visibility along the secrets. And then like if you can have, you can also have like some automated alerts and stuff, so that like whenever a secret has been misused from like say a new IP location or something along those lines, you could get a alert or something like that. And some of these secrets, again, as I said in like the case studies, these can be kind of used for like a much more larger attack campaigns. For example, as you might have seen in the previous slides, there were like send grid tokens and stuff. As an attacker, like they could use to kind of send spam emails or like also impersonate a company, and then that could be like a larger attack thing. So one such future work which I kind of plan to do is like along the lines of expanding my secret scanning to JetBrains and OpenVSX. So like JetBrains is like another popular IDE, and they do have like extensions approximately, I guess, like the last time I checked, along the lines of 2000. And OpenVSX is like a newer uh, marketplace which most of the AI code editors use. So for example, Windsurf and Codium or like another cursor use OpenVSX, given that Microsoft extensions have like Microsoft VS Code has got certain limitations. And also like have to I would also kind of extend this project to have like anonymized metrics, wherein like say just give people like, okay, this is the developer who is kind of pushing too much secrets, and then like also work with companies to resolve that at a scale. I mean, one such motivation for me to kind of expand this to other marketplaces is like, given that it's pretty cheap. So and like one sort of call for action is like, if you're a maintainer of an extension, or like add secret scannings to your pre-commit hooks or like GitHub, because it's free, and you can also kind of rotate the secrets at that time. And another like one intuition which I see is like people usually when they commit GitHub secrets and stuff, like they kind of force push into the branch. So that's like another researcher has done, and then they were able to find secrets in the dangling commits. So technically, like I would say, just have a pre-commit hook that would save this all these hurdles. And acknowledgements, I kind of worked with no hack labs, and then we were able to scan these things and verify the findings. And shout out to my mentor Ming for like helping with all the presentation and stuff. And thanks for the Trufflelog team for open sourcing that thing. I was able to kind of do the analysis part, wherein like I call specific APIs to look at like who owns like say this who owns a OpenAI key or something like that. I would get much more details on like the emails and stuff. And Azure and DigitalOcean for like giving free credits for students. And thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask.
Feel free to raise your hands if you guys have any questions. Well, if not, please appreciate your speaker for the day, and we're done for today. Thank you for coming, guys.